Today's episode of Voiced is from our slash TIFU and is about users sharing their cringe-worthy blunders involving unexpected addictions and grooming disasters. What could possibly go wrong when you mix household items with sensitive situations? Subscribe if you enjoy. I messed up by hiding my staple addiction and making my family think I was a heroin addict. Ever since I was a kid, I loved to fiddle around with staplers, playing with the automatic ones and doing silly stuff like any child would, opening the manual ones and swinging it around, stuff like that. One of my favorite things to do was to open up a new strip of staples and break them apart before putting them in. Running my fingers through the staples, counting them and breaking them apart. Love it. There are 210 staples in a standard strip, and sometimes I'd break off each individual one until my fingers hurt. I've even found strips with 209 and 211 a few times. This progressed from me messing around with staples in Ms. Grady's second grade class, to buying a box of staples every other payday to play with, to literally having a collection of different brands and sizes of staples in my college dorm to break apart. I had a problem, but no one was hurt, so who cares? Well, fast forward to present day. I am a functioning middle-class adult with a wife and 2 children. I have a home, a normal car, and an office job. I am, by all accounts, a normal human being. I still love staples. Working in an office with a supply room full of staples was a problem. I'd spend my lunch break in the room opening boxes and breaking apart staples to get my fix before returning to work. It got so bad over the course of a couple of years that my boss changed our supplier because the boxes all had broken apart staples and were sometimes ripped. So I had to stop doing that. I turned to Amazon first, buying 10 boxes of staples at a time for about $20 a pop. It wasn't enough. I went to 20, then 40. My wife got curious then and asked, "Why are you buying all of these boxes of staples?" But I brushed it off as a work issue that I'd get reimbursed for and knew I had to change my methods. Over the course of a few months, I enabled myself. I started using cash only at different office supply stores around my town and neighboring towns. I would sit in my car and break apart staples before going to the next store. I began to stay out late and tell my wife I would be home soon so I could go buy more staples from different stores. I opened up a new credit card to put online so she wouldn't know, but she caught it in the mail. She got suspicious because things weren't adding up. This past Thursday, after one of my late nights, I got home with a trunk full of broken staples and 10 freshly broken boxes in my passenger seat to see my parents' cars at my house. I walked in and everyone was sitting around like it's an intervention. Because it is. My wife asked if there was anything I wanted to tell them and to tell the truth about my problem. I sat down and kept saying, "What are you talking about?" until my mom said, "Honey, we saw the pictures." Then my wife tells me that my late nights, excuses, and general weirdness about the credit card and some other little things made her hire a private investigator. This man followed me around to office supply stores and watched me do something with what I had in the bag from multiple stores. It basically looked like I was a drug runner for Office Depot who was using some of the product for myself. At this point, my wife started to cry and my dad shook his head. I had to come clean and all I could muster was I like staples. The what in the world looks I got afterwards turned into disbelief, then concern, then fits of laughter when I showed them my car. I came clean. I backed this up by showing my secret stash of used staples in my attic and explained the purchases on the card to my wife. Right now, my only concern is my dad. He didn't laugh, just kind of shook his head continually in disappointment without saying a word. Believe it or not, I think therapy or addiction meetings may help, as my wife gave me these suggestions the day after. I may or may not do that. But the good news is, I now can have a staple hour once I get home, and my budget for staples is allowed by my wife for now. I have an addiction to breaking apart staples, and my wife thought I was on drugs when it became a problem. I am going to sit down for a while and try to respond to quite a few questions directly, as well as here. If you want to copy and paste or use my story in your YouTube videos or whatever, go right ahead. I just ask that you direct message me or name the throwaway so I can find and watch it out of pure interest in other people's perspectives on my problem. I went to see a therapist today with my wife. I was told that although the addiction is not typical in its damage regarding my mental or physical well-being, I do need help. I'm going to go through addiction counseling like any other addict would, just tailored to my specific issue. 2. Apparently, part of fixing my brain to know that it is not okay to continue this level of staplephilia. That included cleaning out my car, attic, and not garnering more attention through memorializing pictures, doing interviews, or trying to garner 15 minutes of fame from it. So after answering some questions about mental health and what the future holds, it will become less about Reddit laughs and more about personal recovery. My wife initially thought I was having an affair. She didn't think I was doing drugs until she got the pictures. The private investigator just told her what he saw, and she deduced that I had an undercover type distribution thing going with someone in the office supply business. She admitted that she didn't think it all through, but her mind was racing and conclusions came as they did. I do not have autism or any diagnosed mental disability. I am just an addict and a fool. I know how silly the addiction is, and so I tried to hide it. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, I guess, but my embarrassing white lie just spiraled out of control. Wow, what a ride that last story was. From an unexpected staple addiction that left a family bewildered and laughing, to a shocking revelation about personal grooming experiences that dive deep into the hilarities and horrors of manhood. The ingenuity, or perhaps miscalculation, of trying to use everyday tools in unconventional ways can lead to some truly memorable, if not painful life lessons. Now, as we transition from the absurdities of staples and grown-up surprises, let's dive into the world of personal grooming gone wrong. Brace yourself for a wild tale that reveals not just the tribulations of trying to manage one's appearance, but the unforeseen consequences that can ensue when technology mixes with delicate anatomy. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. I messed up by using a nose hair trimmer to manscape my nether regions and subsequently revealing mankind's most horrible secret on Reddit. As a preface to this discussion, I am committing one of the greatest societal taboos and revealing a secret that has been zealously guarded throughout the ages. It is a correlate to childbirth, in that just as postmenopausal women wouldn't dare tell an expectant mother how truly agonizing childbirth is, no man in his 50s would traumatize a man in his youthful prime with fears of the anatomical horror that is to come. But times have changed, and new technology places men in grave danger, so now you must know of this biological atrocity, in order that you might avoid my disastrous failure. Sometime around midlife, men's hair follicles undergo a revolting mutation. While hair atop one's head thins and drops, new hair grows in places you never imagined. Bristle-stiff tufts sprout outside and inside of ears and up nostrils. Eyebrows become bushy, unruly, and coarse. Pubic hair turns gray and scraggly. I assure you it's true. All these hairs grow alarmingly fast and require constant attention, lest you become that guy with a bunny paw sticking out of his ear. Their eradication is a battle men wage stoically and silently through the second half of their lives. And as with any battle, there are casualties. Now, onto my TIFU. I found a great nose hair trimmer in the as advertised on TV aisle at CVS. It looks like and operates like a miniature hedge trimmer. It's virtually impossible to cut yourself but mows down the hair. Yesterday, I was trimming ear, nose, and eyebrow hairs after a shower. I was so happy with the results that I decided to try it on my pubic hair too. It worked great. Soon I had gone a bit overboard and pretty much shaved my testicles and the base of the shaft to the skin. I liked the new look, but my bushy taint was a testicular neckbeard that had to go. I positioned a makeup mirror on the bathroom floor and laid down spread eagle, knees up, so I could see and trim everything well. Where once just a few wispy hairs prevailed, unbeknownst to me, a virtual forest had arisen. Worst of all, my butthole was sporting Bharat mustache asbrows. Trusty new nose hair trimmer in hand, I prepared for battle. The buttock hairs had to go first. I began on the left and quickly decimated the bunghole caterpillar. I moved decisively to the right, prepared to take down the second buttock hair with one swift stroke close to the skin. However, this was not to be. Instead, my buttock hairs wrapped around the trimmer blade like Rapunzel using a superheated curling iron, pulling the device tight against my skin and jamming the blade. The hairs were being ripped from my flesh and the pain was excruciating. No matter how I tried, I couldn't remove the trimmer. Wiggling it tugged the hairs more. Restarting it was a double down that I lost. The hairs were wound even tighter against the blade. I frog-walked naked to my bedroom, one hand holding the trimmer tied between my butt cheeks, and searched for my cuticle scissors. No luck. I did, however, find a carpet knife. Unbearable pain breeds desperation. Back on the bathroom floor, I tried in vain to cut myself free, nicking the tenderest of flesh twice and drawing the first blood of battle. I was making little progress, and it was time to make the ultimate sacrifice. After a suitable prayer, I gripped tight on the trimmer and committed reverse harakiri, Brazilian wax style, ripping off the trimmer blade along with its unwanted hair net trap. Blinding pain left me curled fetal, hyperventilating, while blood slowly trickled down my backside. I decided to share my TIFU and expose life's cruel secret in the best interest of mankind, that others may avoid falling prey to the technological wonders of as-seen-on-TV hair removal tools. Young men of Reddit, I beg of you to heed my warning. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage against the dying of the light. Used a nose hair trimmer on bunghole brows and ended up causing an injury. I was pretty sure this TIFU would be popular, but I'm genuinely blown away. My post is in the same league as the coconut and poop knife? So humbling. Thank you. Many of you complimented my writing, and you have no idea how much that means to me. I toiled as a construction industry technical editor for decades. I am writing a book, but I've stalled several times. Your compliments are giving me inspiration to pick it up again. Before I dive into today's posts, please consider subscribing for more hilarious content. Wow, these stories were a wild ride. The first one had me in stitches with a man's passion for staples turning into full-fledged staple addiction. Who knew that could lead to family intervention? And as for that nose hair trimmer mishap, I'm definitely keeping my distance from those gadgets in the future. Have you ever had a household item lead you into an absurd situation? Drop your stories in the comments below. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Voiced. If you enjoy daily high-quality stories, please like and subscribe to show your support.